share with you guys here. Let's welcome Joanne.
Hello. Yes. Thank you everyone. Good morning. Magandang umaga. I'm Joanne from Gabriela, from the Philippines, and Gabriela is one of the biggest organizations in the Philippines. We organize women in communities, among farmers, workers, youth, and urban poor. We also provide services for women victims of violence against women, primarily social and legal aid services for them. But right now, I think in the Philippines, what's happening is that women's organizations are being attacked by the state, by the misogynist president. Our President Duterte has declared war against the people, against the women in the Philippines. So right now, our offices all over the country are being threatened to be raided by the police, and our leaders and members are being threatened to be arrested anytime. Just yesterday, we had to vacate our office at the National Capital Region because of threats of illegal arrest and rape. So, in support of our fight in the Philippines, I would like to ask people, organizations and individuals to take photos with signs. I brought signs with me to defend women human rights defenders in the Philippines, Gabriela, and the Filipino women. So what's happening is that if this situation continues, then it's not only a threat to our lives and to the lives of women in the Philippines, but also it is impinging and preventing us to provide services for women in need, especially those in the far areas where services from the government is very rare and will not reach them. So thank you. You can approach me. We will be in the entrance of the conference hall or here in front of the audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Joanne. Thank you so much. We're going to show your support just by Joanne. Okay, she'll be around. Thank you very much.
Watch those steps.
Shall we begin?
Yes. Yes.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? Did you enjoy the party last night? Did you have fun last night? Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Did you? Actually, kudos to you people. You are here at 8:20 in the morning. And not to say that some of you are having jet lags without us. I know that you couldn't fall asleep until 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. My jet lag after a week just hit rock bottom last night, so that's how it goes.
Wow, so you're being here so early. Just give yourself a big round of applause. Yes! Yeah, just to wake yourself up. And yeah, and I couldn't help but notice that Alice, you're having a little doll with you today.
Yes.
Why is that?
This is Celia, and she's from Eastern Timor. She was given to me. Was it you? Look here, she's still here. She sleeps with me. She still has a little passport, so her Taiwan visa is in here. So I just wanted to let you know she's still around and she's doing fine. Thank you, thank you.
And this Timor girl having a Taiwan visa?
Yes, because she has a passport.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. And customs gave her a yes.
East Timor, Taiwan. Yes.
I just thought I had to carry her so you know she's still around.
Yes.
So,
okay, we are going to begin this very wonderful plea number 2. Plenary.
Thank you, Raymond. So this morning is all about the power of the arts when it comes to bettering the position of women across the globe. So I wonder how many of you have seen the film Roma? Please raise your hands.
Raise your hand.
Oh yes, quite a few of you. That's great. And for those of you who haven't, it's quite a remarkable film. It's directed by Alfonso Cuarón, and it won the Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film this year. So it's an epic story about earth-shattering events revolving around the lives of and the lives and the struggles of 2 women, a mother from a middle-class family, and the domestic worker who works for her. So I suggest we watch a clip from the movie so we know what we're talking about.
Let's have a look.
So I think this is one film we should all be watching. Now the star of Roma was nominated for an Oscar as well for her performance. And she was actually the first indigenous woman to be nominated by the Academy. And now, yes, that is worth a round of applause. She now uses the platform that this new fame has given her to speak out for the rights of women and indigenous people. And we are very honored to have her here today. Please welcome Yalitza Aparicio. Yalitza, and her interpreter, Anna. So Yalitza, the floor is yours. I think we'd like you to stand in the middle, please. Yes, speak out from the middle. Thank you, Anna. I'll be right back with you.
Hola, buenos días a todos. Cuando era pequeña, en varias ocasiones me tocó escuchar: ¿para qué estudias si eres mujer? Vete a la cocina, ese es tu lugar. No juegues fútbol, eso es para hombres. No juegues con tus amigos a los carritos, ¿qué va a decir la gente?
Good morning. When I was little, I heard several times, what do you study if you're a woman? Go to the kitchen, that's your place. Don't play football, that's for boys. And don't play with strollers with boys, what are people going to say?
Creía que cuando creciera más y les demostrara que aún siendo mujer sí podía estudiar o jugar el deporte que yo quisiera, dejaría de escuchar comentarios como estos. Pero no fue así. Seguían surgiendo. Sí, eres buena para el trabajo, pero eres mujer. La verdad, estamos buscando hombres que sí se comprometan, porque ellos no se distraen con la familia. Disculpa, yo sé que trabajas mucho, pero no te podemos pagar lo mismo que a él. ¿Por qué? Porque así son las cosas. Bueno, infinidad de comentarios que ustedes ya habrán escuchado.
I thought that growing up, those comments would stop. I proved that despite the fact that I'm a woman, I can go to school and then I can play sports, and I really thought that all those comments would come to an end. But it wasn't the case. The comments kept coming. Yes, we know you're good for work, but you're a woman. And the truth is that we're looking for a man who's, they're truly committed to the work and they don't get distracted with family. Sorry, we know you work hard, but we can't pay you the same. Why? That's how things are. And there are many other comments like that I'm sure you've all heard.
Todo esto me llevaba siempre a pensar, no tiene por qué ser así. ¿Quién dice que por ser mujer solo puedo hacer ciertas cosas? O que mi trabajo debe de ser desvalorizado y que mi función es solo cuidar de la casa y tener hijos.
But I kept thinking that it didn't have to be like that. Who are they to say that I can only do certain things because I am a woman, or that what I do has less value, or that I only have to take care of the house and the children?
Cada vez que veía mujeres en diferentes áreas laborales, me emocionaba y decía: yo quiero ser como ellas, así, independiente, luchando por sus sueños, sobreponiéndome a lo que diga la gente. Me fascinaba escuchar sus historias, porque de ahí tomaba fuerzas para seguir adelante. Me daba cuenta que cada persona suele ahogarse en su vaso de agua, pero debemos de encontrar la forma de sobreponernos.
Every time I saw women at work, I kept thinking, I want to be like them. I want to be independent. I want to fight for my dreams. I want to overcome all these comments. I love listening to their stories. I was just fascinated by them because they made me stronger to carry on. And I realized that we all have issues, but we must overcome them.
Muchas personas nos dicen: tu destino está escrito. O necesitas tener mucha suerte para llegar a donde deseas. Pero no es así. Nadie sabe lo que va a pasar mañana. En ocasiones, solo nos sentamos a esperar y dejar que las oportunidades pasen. El punto está en arriesgarse a hacer lo que tú quieres y no lo que te dicen que hagas. Es mantenerte firme en tus decisiones y luchar por tus ideales hasta alcanzarlos.
Many people say that destiny is written, or they tell you that you need tons of luck to achieve your dreams. But it's not true. No one knows what the future holds. Sometimes we just sit and wait, we let opportunities vanish, but we have to risk for what we want, for not what for people tell us that we want. We have to stay strong in our decisions, in our convictions, until we achieve them.
Solemos sentirnos cómodos sin tomar riesgos. No nos atrevemos a salir de nuestra zona de confort por temor a lo desconocido. Algo que yo hice fue salir de esa zona, arriesgarme a lo desconocido, intentar conocer un mundo que a través de los medios subliminalmente me habían hecho creer que no me pertenecía, que ni siquiera soñara con estar ahí.
We don't risk because we're afraid, but we need to get out of our comfort zone. That's what I did. I did get out of my comfort zone. I took risks. I entered the media world where there was no one like me, which was another hidden way of telling me that I did not belong there. It was a way of saying, do not even think about it.
Una vez que logré conocer un poco y experimentar lo que era, surgieron muchas cosas que no esperaba. Reacciones tanto positivas como negativas, donde me daba cuenta que nosotros mismos éramos la barrera que nos oponíamos a que nuestra sociedad avanzara. Algo que me ayudó durante este proceso fue tener claro que antes de esos comentarios negativos estaba yo, porque yo era la única que sabía cuánto trabajo me había costado estar en donde estaba. Yo sabía los retos que me había puesto y cómo los había superado. Yo conocía mi pasado, solo yo y nadie más. Yo sabía qué era lo que quería y lo más importante, solo yo me conocía y sabía de lo que era capaz. Nadie podía juzgarme, porque solo estaban conociendo mi nombre, no mi historia. Así que yo era mi única juez y aprendí a valorarme.
Once I started to work a little bit more and know a little bit more than the media world, I realized there were many unexpected things, both positive and negative reactions. I realized that we are our biggest wall against progress in society. What helped me throughout that process was to realize that I came first, before all those negative comments. I was the only one who actually knew all the work that took for me to get there, all the challenges that I had to overcome and how I did it. I was the only one who knew my past. But most importantly, I was the only one who knew myself, who knew what I was capable of, and no one could judge me. Because I was the only because they only knew my name, not my story. I was the only one who could judge myself, and I learned to value myself.
Yo siempre he dicho que crecí en un hogar privilegiado, claro, con carencias económicas muy grandes, pero con abundancia de valores, que fue la riqueza más grande que me pudieron haber dado.
I always say that I come from a privileged environment. We had plenty of economic difficulties, but we also had plenty of values, which is the greatest wealth one can have.
Amo ser una mujer indígena, que se siente orgullosa de ser quien es, aunque me fue negado hablar mi lengua indígena por diferentes circunstancias. Y a pesar de que ser una mujer indígena signifique tener más desventajas en la sociedad, porque aparte de sufrir de la falta de equidad de género y tener que vivir con inseguridad al caminar por las calles por ser mujer, también nos tenemos que esforzar doblemente para oponernos a las ideas y comentarios que te hieren, como cuando te dicen que eres una ignorante porque no estudiaste, cuando realmente no tuviste la misma oportunidad para hacerlo, que tienes un color de piel que no va de acuerdo al trabajo que estás pidiendo, no cumples con el perfil, o que no puedes hablar el español, la lengua predominante en el caso de México, pero ellos no se esfuerzan por entender tu idioma y respetarlo.
I love being an Indigenous woman, a proud Indigenous woman, although I can't speak my language for different reasons. And although that means that I face different and numerous disadvantages, not just lack of gender equality, but it's also the safety, the lack of safety that we feel in the streets for the fact that we're women. But we also face twice as much discrimination because we have to oppose some hurtful ideas that we're exposed to every day. For instance, when they call you ignorant because you didn't go to school, you don't have any studies. But the truth is that we didn't have the same opportunities. Or when they tell you that your skin color doesn't match the job description, that you don't fit the profile, or that you don't speak Spanish in my case, which is the main language in Mexico, but then they don't make any effort to respect or understand your language.
En otros casos, a las mujeres indígenas que tienen profesiones no les dan las mismas oportunidades por ser mujeres, por tener un color de piel diferente, tener rasgos distintos al de ellos y por ser indígenas. Al final del día, a veces terminas acostumbrándote y considerando lo normal, que es lo más grave, porque no es normal ni está bien.
In other cases where Indigenous women are professional, they don't have the same opportunities at work because they're women, because their skin color, because they're Indigenous. And you end up thinking that's normal, which is the most dangerous and pernicious because it's not normal and it's not right.
La violencia contra las mujeres y las niñas es una de las violaciones de los derechos humanos más graves, extendida, arraigada y desafortunadamente tolerada en el mundo. Esta violencia es tanto causa como consecuencia de la desigualdad.
Violence against women and girls is one of the most serious human rights violations because it's so rooted in our societies, it's so serious, and regretfully it's tolerated around the world. That violence is the cause and the consequence of gender inequality.
En el mundo, todos los días las mujeres sufren de discriminación solo por su género. Y muchos nos preguntamos, ¿qué es lo que está pasando? Buscamos un culpable sin voltear a ver qué es lo que nosotros mismos hemos hecho. ¿Qué tanto hemos permitido que nuestros derechos sean violados? ¿Cuántas veces nos hemos quedado en silencio? ¿Cómo hemos educado a nuestros hijos?
Around the world, every day, gender discrimination happens. And we're asking ourselves, what happened? Why is happening? Why is this happening? And we look out for someone to blame. But we do not think, what did we do? Why did we allow all this discrimination to happen? We don't think of all the times that we remain silent. That we don't think about the education that we have given our children.
La educación es la herramienta más fuerte para lograr la equidad de género y acabar con la discriminación. Al hablar de educación, todos debemos de tener en cuenta que no es algo que solo le compete a las escuelas o directamente a los maestros. Esto es un trabajo en equipo entre padres de familia, maestros, alumnos y el gobierno.
Education is the strongest tool we have to fight for gender equality and to end up discrimination. When we talk about education, we have to take into account that it's not something that relies only on schools or on teachers. It's teamwork. It depends also on the parents, the teachers, the students, and the government.
En la educación de los niños también influye el medio donde crecen, que es a lo que están expuestos cotidianamente. La sociedad le transmite mensajes a través de diferentes medios de comunicación, ya que estos tienen gran impacto en la vida de muchos.
When we talk about the education of our children, we have to take into account the environment in which they grow up. What are they exposed to every day? Society also transfers and transmits messages through different media, and those have a huge impact in the life of many people.
En nosotros está decidir qué es lo que queremos cambiar y cómo lograrlo. Encontrar el punto exacto de equilibrio, sin caer en el cambio de papeles, donde ahora los hombres sean los que sufran de discriminación. Debemos luchar simplemente por la igualdad de oportunidades. Encontremos la equidad de género.
We need to decide what we want to change and how we want to do it. We need to find that point of balance, but we don't fall into a total exchange of roles where now men are the ones who suffer discrimination. We need to fight simply and only for equal opportunity. Let's find gender equality.
Thank you so much.
Marisa Martínez, muchísimas gracias. Siéntese, por favor. Ana, thank you very much for translating. Siéntese, por favor. So I have a couple of questions for you. The film draws a parallel between the chaos in the world and the chaos that domestic women, domestic workers and other ordinary women go through. So how do you think the voices of these ordinary women, whether they are indigenous or domestic workers, how are they heard on the global stage?
Yo creo que algo que podemos hacer es darles más visibilidad. Es algo que nos ha faltado demasiado, que ellas se vean identificadas con algo y que también se les permita soñar. Dentro de esto va el respetarlas como seres humanos.
A quick rundown, please, Anna. Thank you.
I think one of the things that we can do is to give them more visibility, so that they can identify, they can relate with some of the things that happen, so they can dream too, and that is a way of showing respect for them.
Yes, so this is actually exactly what you are doing now that you are a celebrity, we can say, because you use your voice to advocate for these women. How exactly do you do that?
Pues simplemente trato de hablar desde mi experiencia, lo que yo he pasado, porque yo formo parte de este sector que es menos visible, así que trato siempre de motivarlas y de que se vean reflejadas ellas en mí y se den cuenta que sí se pueden alcanzar las cosas.
So you represent them actually, yes, so they feel that they can relate to you. Is that what she said, Anna? Please.
What I try to do is I try to talk from my experience. I'm part of those who are less visible, so I try to motivate them. I try to make them identify with me, so they can become more visible too.
Yes, so, yes. What areas concern you most when it comes to these women?
Lo que más me preocupa es la gran desventaja que tienen en la sociedad. Se nos limita a ciertas cosas por ideologías que aún no se nos han quitado a pesar de ya encontrarnos en otro siglo. No estamos respetando realmente el hecho de que ellas puedan hacer lo que ellas quieren, y creo que esto nos ha llevado a que nosotras mismas como mujeres a veces no confiemos en lo que hacemos.
Anna is working really hard.
I think that they're a big disadvantage in society, and we are limited because of the ideologies of the past century, and I think we do not respect what they want, we do not respect their will, and that means that leads to them not trusting what they can do and what they really want.
So that must be hard. Have you booked any successes?
Sí, es algo complicado, pero sí tengo ejemplos, y a lo mejor no voy a dar como un nombre de alguna persona famosa. Yo siempre he dicho que desde los hogares podemos empezar con cambiar estas cosas, y yo tengo el ejemplo más grande, que es mi mamá y mi hermana, que ellas siempre me enseñaron a través del ejemplo cómo podíamos luchar por lo que queríamos.
It is complicated. We do have some examples, but I will not give you names. And I always say that you have to start from home. And I saw a big change in my own home from my mom and my sister. They always taught me that you can achieve change, and they showed it by the example.
Look very much, you really. So I wonder, Yalisa, do you have an idea what the role of cinema and the arts in general can mean for when we speak about social issues in general?
La ventaja que tiene el cine es que es tan diverso, existen tantos tipos de cine que se pueden acoplar a transmitir mensajes positivos para la sociedad, mensajes educativos, y hay un tipo de cine donde pueden verse reflejados los problemas que existen en la sociedad, como para que eso también nos lleve a poner temas sobre la mesa que a veces no los consideras como fuera de lo normal, al contrario, estás acostumbrado a ellos, así que creo que nos pueden ayudar, como en el caso de la película en que afortunadamente estuve, que puso sobre la mesa varios temas a discutir.
I think the advantage of cinema is its diversity. It can be a platform for very good, very positive messages, educational messages. They can mirror the problems that society have, and most importantly, sometimes it's hidden problems that are invisible, which happen in the film that I had the pleasure to work on. We put on the table social problems that people think are normal.
So thank you very much for doing your work and using your platform for this important issue. And congratulations on that wonderful nomination and being the first Indigenous woman to achieve that. Very much congratulated, I think, from all of us.
Thank you very much. Yalitza, Aparicio, and Anna, thank you for your good work. Thank you very much, ladies. So, we have a little set change, and while that happens, let me join you in the room because I kind of want to know how you are feeling. It's such a big distance from the stage to you, so while housekeeping is going on behind me, I would just like to know, let me start here in the front row. Yes, you were hiding, so it's you. Hi. Stand up, please. Who are you, and how are you finding the conference so far?
My name is Emma. I'm from Australia, and I'm really enjoying the conference so far.
What part are you enjoying most?
I really liked the performance yesterday. I really enjoyed them. We had a lot of discussions last night around how we interpreted them and what we thought of them. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Emma. There's so much more to come, so enjoy the rest of it. Let me see who's my next. There's another one hiding. Good morning to you. Could you please stand up? Who are you? Good morning.
Hi. Good morning. I'm Suhair from Israel. I'm a shelter director for Arab Palestinian Women.
So what has stuck to your mind so far?
Everything, almost everything.
You need one or two.
Okay. Okay. The performance of the woman that got abused, sexual abuse.
One in the court, you mean?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Anything you're looking forward to today?
My session?
Which one? Which is your session?
The private is political, about running a shelter for Arab Palestinian women in Israel.
What time, what room?
At 13:45, I can't remember the room.
Afternoon. Somewhere in 3 or something. Well, good luck with that. I see that my set, oh, you're so lucky that the set has been changed, because I'm only getting fired up now. Let me see if I can make these stairs without breaking my neck. So we were talking about the theme of the role of the arts when it comes to bettering the lives of women in the world. And I'd like to continue on that theme with a panel. And I will now call on stage Margarita Guille, who is a member, as you know, of the board of directors of GNWS. And she's also the chair of the Latin American Network of Women's Shelters. But what you might not know is that she's also a documentary maker, radio and television, and she is the founder of the magazine Mujer Contemporánea, Modern Woman. So welcome Margarita Guille coming up on stage, and joining her will be Josephine Lin, who is a writer, a producer, and a director of stage plays here in Taiwan, including productions like the Vagina Monologues, Playback Theater, and Taiwan's very own version of the monologues, She Di, of which we saw an excerpt yesterday. So that is Josephine Lin. And last but not very least, Choi Young-min, who is a poet and one of the defining figures of the Korean Me Too movement. Her poem Monster brought attention to sexual harassment. What is that? Say it again. Somebody was shouting. I thought you had something to add to this conversation. But now that I give you the floor, you're suddenly very quiet. Ah, it's all right. So here are my panel ladies, and I will be talking with them. Good morning, everybody. How are you? So that is Margarita, just so you know, and in the middle we have Josephine, and this is Young-min. I would like to start with, for all of you, with the same question I asked Yalitza. What do you think is the role that the arts can play when it comes to bettering the lives of women? I think I will start with Margarita.
Well, definitely I would say that art has an important role to put in place all the different kinds of situations that are not in the reality. And it's very important to do it because you can do it in a very creative way. So it could be like ludic and fun, but at the same time bitter or very dark. So there are lots of possibilities that we as advocates or people that are trying to change our small world, try to do it also using the all medias that the art provides us today. And just to say that everyone has an artist inside, so we can create our own masterpieces as long as we have clear in our mind what do we want to contribute or to apport in this change of the world.
Thank you, thank you. Young-mi, what are your thoughts? You as a poet.
Art has the power to move people's heart. A poem or a painting changes society, even if that's not the artist's intention. Art itself cannot solve the problems we have, but it can bring our problems into the light and make people think, laugh, and weep. Art has no limits, neither in time nor in space. It flies like a bird to every corner of the world. A poem or a painting communicates with people more deeply, widely, and longer than everyday words or an article.
What a very poetic way of saying it. Thank you so much. And Josephine, your thoughts on the matter?
Okay. Hi. You see the show yesterday, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And we were very impressed.
Yeah. And the show yesterday I directed, but the most important thing is the woman on the stage. Isn't she fabulous? Yeah. Actually, she's not a professional actor, but her acting is pretty professional, isn't it?
Definitely.
Because she acts out her life. She acts out her own story. And for those women who suffer from domestic violence and also sexual abuse, they don't want to be always labeled as a victim. They want to be actor or dancer or artist sometimes. They want to be something else. They want to be shine just by themselves. So for me, art can really make us see them.
So it's a liberating thing, that's what I hear you all say. And it's a way of putting difficult matters into a little package that can be felt by everybody. That's what I hear you say. So Margarita, you were a documentary maker, as I was saying. What, if any, effect did the Me Too movement have on you?
Well, in the first place, I will say that Me Too bring the world the opportunity to end with the silence in the media and arts that are particularly in sexual harassment. So for me, it is an opportunity to join, to raise these voices. Although in Mexico the movement was not very strong, I would say that there were lots of small Me Too's in different areas, like musicians, theater, TV. But one thing is very important: the most power the industry has, the biggest silence remains. So,
what do you mean by that?
What I mean is, for example, there were lots of complaints into the arts, but regarding people from theater and drama, or independent artists, cinema, but they are not very powerful industries. So what I can tell in my experience in Mexico is that the most power the industry, for example, the TV has, the more silence remain in the people that could be victims of that. They almost don't speak on that. They really remain silent because of the consequences it could have in a country where there is lots of impunity and where is lots of hesitating to denounce or not sexual harassment.
So this means the problem isn't actually getting smaller. Is it something that you can use for your work, for your documentaries, for your films?
Yeah, it could be used absolutely, yes, to denounce and to show, as long as the victims want. But one way to do it is to dislocate the reality, so we don't put a real person to speak. So we can use metaphors and art and the subjective narratives to create a parallel metaphor or narrative to make us understand what's happening without showing a kind of replay of the reality. That is very important, and that is, in my opinion, the real art.
Thank you. You brought Me Too to Korea, actually. How did you do that?
You mean Me Too movement in Korea?
Yes, the movement. You started it in Korea. How?
Okay. In 2017, an editor of a magazine requested me to write poems about feminism and gender struggle. So, accepting the request, I wrote a poem, Monster, which exposed the sexual harassment by an old poet, Ian. When my poem, Monster, released, the public immediately noticed who Ian is, who the monster is, so which ignited the Me Too movement in Korea.
Wow, that must have been a moment, I suppose. So have you seen changes since that moment into 2017?
Yes, many changes at workplace. The number of drinking parties, you know, the Koreans love parties, yeah. The number of drinking parties until late at night decreased. And men have become more careful with their words, so sexual harassment comments decreased.
It has.
Yeah. And the number of sexual assault complaints have exploded across the country, but punishment for perpetrators is still mild. And cultural leaders who have been accused of repeated sexual harassment even filed lawsuits, seeking compensations from victims like me.
Yes.
And a legal battle is currently underway in the course between two sides. You know that after 2 days after, the judge of Seoul High Court will rule my case. 2 days after, okay.
But such an impact. I mean, that's wonderful. And just one poet getting that done. I think that's wonderful. Do you not? Yes, I think you do.
Thank you for that. Sex offenders were kicked out of the workplace, especially in schools. And people have begun to listen to victims' older stories. This important.
Older stories or other stories?
older stories.
Older stories.
Exactly. And for the first time in history of Korean Writers Association, a female chief of the board has taken office and issued an apology on the past silence about sexual harassment in the literary world.
Wonderful, wonderful. Congratulations on that. Very impressive. So Josephine, you were mentioning Shidi earlier, and it's not actresses but just normal people acting that role. That must have changed their lives in some way. Can you comment on that?
Yes. Actually, I want to mention the relationship between me and the Garden of Hope has been 15 years. I already know because of Miss Chi's invitation, I started to work with them since 2005. In the beginning, I work with them as a drama therapist because we think they need therapy. But for a few years later, we think therapy is not enough. It's not enough. They don't want to just be a victim. They want to be something more.
They want to be human beings like everybody.
Exactly. That's why we start to train them as an actor.
Yes.
And later on, they don't feel that's enough. They want to be activists. So they came out. They don't want to just stay home or stay in the therapy sections. They want to be in the public. They want to speak to others. They want to tell their story. They want to be known. They want their story to be heard. They want to be understood.
Completely empowered. That's what you're telling us.
Yes. So by exploring and expand our role repertoire or their role repertoire, they become bigger, much bigger than that trauma.
Wonderful. Those are the consequences of art. And as Youngmi was saying it so poetically, which I really cannot replicate, but arts are there to touch our minds and to touch our hearts. I wonder, Margarita, is there any artist, whether or not they're a performer or an actor or maybe a musician, who has specifically influenced you?
Well, there is a Mexican director that is Guillermo del Toro. Maybe some of you have heard of him. Say again, Guillermo del Toro?
I haven't heard of that.
Does anybody knows him?
Apparently.
He's very well known guy.
And why is it that his art...
Well, basically because I identify myself in this imaginary world when you can create a parallel symbolism full of meaning, as you were saying, talking about a very hard and difficult, cruel reality, but using this knowledge and this spirit that has a child inside, and at the same time is naive, but in the other side has these kind of fantastic elements that we Mexican people have in our narratives to create powerful narratives regarding the reality, the current reality, putting maybe the accent in marginal, peripheral people that is not visible for most of us, but that they want to express and to show their stories because they are meaningful.
Yes.
And that is the way that they can create an impact and to connect to each other. So that's why I really admire him.
Lovely, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Josephine, how about you? Any certain performer or artist, musician?
Thank you for this question, because when you asked me this morning, I think, okay, maybe it's that actor or that actress. But actually, it's my clients. They are my models. Because they, in the beginning, in the groups, they were vulnerable. They see others are unhelpful. They think the whole world is in danger. But after their work, after they make such a big effort on the stage, they become powerful. They become confident and see others might be helpful. And they see the world is full of hope. And such a big courage. So I think I got inspired by them.
I can totally imagine that. I really can. One last question for all three of you. I'll start with you, Youngmi. NGOs often have very limited resources. Do you think there is a way that they can use arts to get their work done when they have no money to do the work? Youngmi, please. Thank you.
Art can be used to heal victims. In Korea, victims of sexual violence have been afraid to reveal what happened to them because of social taboos. It is less difficult to write a poem than to tell every details of the truth. Through the creation of a poem or a painting, we can escape from our painful past.
Thank you. Justine, what's your take on that?
I think of the words which had mentioned a lot yesterday, solidarity. I think artists can work with NGO, and for us, we present some example, but I think through the creative thinking, people can create more ways to work together, because if we want to change this world into a better world, which is not a work individually, it's a collective work itself. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Marguerite, what's your thought on it? Can NGOs use art instead of money to do the work?
Well, yeah, but they do need the money.
They do need the money.
Yes, they do. Definitely, I will say that we importantly need it. But also, what we can use is the art to denounce that we are not getting the money.
Now that's a very smart answer. Thank you so much. So this is, I'm afraid, all we have time for, but I think it's been riveting to hear and to hear your examples of how art is actually doing so much more than just being beautiful. So thank you so very much, Choi Young-mi, Josephine Lind, and Margarita Guille for talking to us about the power of art. Thank you. Thank you very much. Raymond, it's all yours.
Thank you once again to Aldous, thank you to Yalitza, thank you to Margarita, thank you to Josephine, and thank you to Young-Ming. Let's put your hands once again for them. Very, very inspiring. Let's keep changing the world, let's keep changing the society with art. Thank them for their wonderful discussion, and we're about to wrap up this plenary session, and before we go, just a few things to go through. Can I have the map? I was just talking about the helpline project that we've been doing recently. Can we have the map? Yes. Okay. We need you to share information about national helplines. So we are having the map here. We're going to add countries to the map. You're about to see this map a few more times these 2 days, and hopefully we can add on more countries to the map, okay? If you have any information about national helplines, just go to our booth outside and share your information. Thank you very much. And also we have some more seminars and also workshops, and that will start from 9:30 to 11 o'clock, and also one from 11:15 to 12:45. And one in the afternoon from 1:45 to 3:15. And we'll be back to this room for plenary 3 that will start at 3:45, okay? And if you want to meet Young-Mi again, we also have the Meet the Author event this afternoon that will start at 3 o'clock. That will start at 3:15. That will start at 3:15. You will meet Nina Smart and also Young-Mi if you want. And we'd like to thank you once again for your participation this morning. Have fun today. Thank you so much. Let's have a break.